And welcome to another busy broadcast week here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Are you aware of the phrase generational run? As in, an athlete is just dominating the competition for years on end, and it's just unlike anything we've ever seen. They're on a generational run. President Trump, over the past few days, ladies and gentlemen, has been on a generational run. First, we get the trade deal with the United Kingdom on the 80th anniversary of VE Day, or as he proclaimed it, World War II Victory Day. Then we get a deal for the last remaining living American hostage held by Hamas, Edon Alexander, who is now, within the past hour, back in the United States. He is reunited with his family. It's an incredible reunion that we will have coming up in the daily Trump date in the 4 o'clock hour. He signs the executive order designed to give most favored nation status to the United States in drug pricing, and effectively parries the idea that this is somehow a Soviet-style price control. Is there anything else this guy has not done just in the past 5 days? I'm telling you, generational run for the president. Coming up later in the Dan O'Donnell Show, why it's going to be a whole lot more difficult to challenge Wisconsin's congressional maps. We got into the constitutional argument a bit last week. Well, my good buddy Joe Handrick, who, as I always bill him, is the preeminent data guru in the state of Wisconsin, certainly for the Republican Party, but I'm willing to wager that the Democrats don't have anyone nearly as talented as him. He actually took their argument at face value. And their argument basically is, well, Wisconsin is, for the most part, a 50-50 state. Why is it that we only have 2 of 8 congressional representatives who are Democrats? He, I think, found the argument that nukes this one. It is what's known in the law as a dispositive argument, meaning game over, case dismissed. There's no way you can defeat it. We will get into that coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Also a very, and I mean very special, emotional, unsung hero of the day, who I have a personal connection to. You're not going to want to miss this. Coming up at the end of the 4 o'clock hour, 4:50-ish. And we will also, at the end of this hour, talk to Brian Jacobson, pinch hitting for Dave Spano, and break all the China news down. The deal that was struck calls for the framework of it. It was announced. I thought that the press release got a little bit ahead of what it was Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent was actually saying yesterday. He said, look, we had a productive 2 days, but the framework of the deal was announced today. 90-day pause on tariffs, and instead of American tariff rates going down from 140% to 60%, as most expected those rates would go down, went all the way down to 30%. We'll chat with Brian about that, unhinged liberal of the day, and much, much more as the Monday edition of the Dan O'Donnell Show unfolds. We want to win you $1,000. However, 2 more weeks in the Spring Green Cash contest. We play all the way through the Friday before Memorial Day weekend, which, don't look now, but is 2 weeks away. Memorial Day is 2 weeks from today. It never ceases to amaze me how much faster life seems to be going. There's actually a scientific reason for that. As you get older, each day, each week, each month represents a smaller and smaller percentage of your life. So your perspective on each day, week, and month changes. But man, oh man, oh man, it seems like 2025 especially is going quite fast. Nationwide keyword this hour, happy, Happy. Happy. You have got until 55 past the hour to go to our website and enter the keyword happy to enter the contest for this hour. If you would like to join the Dan O'Donnell Show, 414-799-1130, 1-800-838-9476. You can email me, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well. You can watch the show streaming live, X, Facebook, YouTube. Subscribe to the Dan O'Donnell Show podcast. We continue to be in the top 100 of all iHeartRadio podcasts. That is great. But we popped up to about the top 50. I think we were 63. We peaked at last week or maybe 2 weeks ago amid the Hannah Dugan exclusive story that we broke. Let's get back there, folks. Like, subscribe, heart, thumbs up, smiley face emoji, poop emoji if you must, but follow us on the iHeartRadio app. I know you are all very interested in this year's World Naked Bike Ride in Milwaukee. It's June 28th. The location, time, and route are according to the World Naked Bike Ride Milwaukee official website, still to be determined. So I wish I could tell you which ones of you need to avert your eyes on June 28th, but it will be then. So fair warning. And there's one thing I know about the World Naked Bike Ride. After having covered a number of them, they've been in Madison forever. Just came to Milwaukee a few years ago. I've never gone to a World Naked Bike Ride, but I can say with a fair amount of confidence, there is nobody who takes part in the World Naked Bike Ride who you would want as a spectator to take part in the World Naked Bike Ride. Now, why do I bring up the World Naked Bike Ride? Why do I care about the World Naked Bike Ride? I just said it's not for perverted reasons, but it's to illustrate what Milwaukee's bicycling community will tolerate versus what it apparently will not. It'll tolerate all shapes. Now, most of the shapes are round, but most shapes of naked bodies biking through Milwaukee. What it will not tolerate: some dude wearing a red Make America Great Again hat and fake gold Trump chain while signing up for the River West 24-hour bike event through, as you could imagine, Milwaukee's River West neighborhood. This is a Dan O'Donnell Show exclusive. A listener was turned away and was not allowed to register his team for the River West 24. Thankfully, they are all planning to wear their clothes. I spoke with this source earlier today, and he confirmed that he was not wearing the Trump hat and chain and his birthday suit, but an actual suit because he was just coming from church earlier this month to sign up for River West 24. Now, if you're like me, suburban dude, I don't get to Milwaukee's River West neighborhood as much as I like because, frankly, River West is a fantastic community. Much of downtown is tremendous. We conservatives get a bad rep because we hate Milwaukee, supposedly. I love Milwaukee. I can't stand the fact that it's been run into the ground by horrific left-wing policy. City of Milwaukee, especially now as the weather is getting nicer, as people are going outside, there's tons of stuff to do. We are the festival city. There is always something to do in downtown Milwaukee, except ride in the River West 24 if you happen to be wearing a MAGA hat and Trump gold chain. So what is River West 24? It is 24 hours of continuous bicycling, and this is at the end of July. The goal is to strengthen our neighborhood. It's been going on since 2007, this according to the River West 24 website, by encouraging bikers and spectators to come out for a full 24 hours. We hope to show off Milwaukee's River West neighborhood and encourage biking in an urban environment. Through this exercise in stamina, teamwork, and merriment, we hope to build an event that all people in Milwaukee and beyond can enjoy by participating in, volunteering for, or by cheering on the riders. Now, everybody except our listener who is wearing the wrong gang colors, it seems. You're inclusive to a point if you're the River West 24 organizer. They want to strengthen the neighborhood, just not with you people coming in. Sure looks like viewpoint discrimination, but isn't. There are several rules for River West 24. 1, community courtesy. Slow down when riding through block parties. Don't be a jerk. Respect the community. Don't be fat and naked on your bike. Oh, wait, no. I'm sorry. That was a rule that I put in for the World Naked Bike Ride. I made that one up. We throw this race because we love our neighborhood. Now, River West 24 does reserve the right to disqualify any rider without a refund. Signups are sort of unique. You can't just go to the website, apparently, to sign up. This is a very popular event, so they encourage people to sign up at a couple locations, one of which is the Black Husky Brewery on the first weekend in May, which is where we find our listener. I'm not going to identify him or his team or anyone involved in this. While it is going to be apparent who this is to the River West 24 organizers, there's just nothing gained in drawing more attention to him or the specific names of the people who turned him away. Dear Dan, he writes, the last thing I'm interested in is having myself in the spotlight. I'd prefer to remain as private as possible. But for the sake of my bicycle racing team in the River West 24, and for the sake of the truth, I am compelled to reach out and do what I can to seek justice in this matter. In short, for many years, I've had a team in the River West 24, a fun community building event that takes place the last weekend in July. Like most years, I also usually do some volunteer work for the River West 24, which makes my team eligible for the VIP registration the following year. Last year, I helped make the t-shirts. Note that there are a couple of ways you can get in the VIP line: by doing volunteer work the previous year or by having enough BIPOCs, that is, people of color. I think it's Black, Indigenous, People of Color is the acronym. In retrospect, my team does in fact have a couple such people, but since I'm anti-woke and hence don't think in racial terms, I never compose my team or promote my team with such things in mind. Last Sunday, May 4th, registration day at Black Husky Brewery. I arrived right after church and got in line, accompanied by one of my teammates and another friend. I was wearing my Make America Great Again red hat, which some might think is only asking for trouble in River West, except that I wear it everywhere on the weekend, basically whenever I'm not at work or at church. Yes, even in River West and Bayview. I've done so for years. I wore it last year at the River West 24 event. I wear my red hat, sometimes also with my Trump chain around my neck, sometimes with the mugshot shirt, or sometimes with the fist in the air shirt. Remember the iconic photo of Trump after he was shot, knowing full well I will always get a variety of reactions. A lot of love from people of every description, the evil eye from others, the middle finger salute from others. People refusing to call my name when my coffee is ready at coffee shops while they call out all the others. That's all in a normal weekend for me. I find it amusing. On this occasion, while waiting in the long VIP line, a couple people put the stare on me. One guy came right up to me and said, "I like your hat," and fist bumped me. Not that skin tone matters to me, but he was unmistakably black. Such details are important for the irony of what I would be accused of by the River West 24 people just minutes later. When we finally got all the way to the registration table, A woman removed me from the line, said I am banned from the River West 24. She banned both me and my team from the race and ranted about Trump's racism, his hatred of immigrants, and his persecution of LGBT. I asked what rule I violated. She said wearing my hat and Trump chain goes against everything the River West 24 stands for. I asked her what specific rule, and she spelled out one rule from the website, "Don't be a jerk." Of course, she can claim me guilty only by interpreting my hat as somehow ipso facto proof that I am a jerk and guilty of everything she thinks Trump to be guilty of. Ironically, taking a righteous stand against my MAGA gear somehow justifies her being a jerk and intolerant to me. Throughout the whole ordeal, unlike this woman, I never raised my voice, was never hateful, hostile, intolerant, emotional, or authoritarian, all of which describes my angry interlocutor that day. She claimed she speaks on behalf of the River West 24, and there is no recourse. He's out. His team is out. He goes on. Tuesday, May 6th, I emailed my story to Alderwoman Mullally Coggs and Alderman Brower, as their districts are covered by the River West 24 route. Alex Brower is the socialist who was just elected to the Milwaukee Common Council. Coggs has been there forever and a day. Thus far, I have heard nothing from either of them. Wednesday, May 7th, I finally found out an email address for the River West 24, and I emailed the story to them. So far, I have heard nothing from them. Radio silence, like a Mark Belling-style pregnant pause. This guy is a fantastic writer, by the way, just fully immersing the reader in this story, like a Mark Belling pregnant pause. Except instead of a few seconds, this has been many days and still nothing. Having waited a full week, I felt it only fair at this point to share this story with you. I don't want much. I want my team in the race this year, even though the River West 24 might try to claim they can't let me in, even if they wanted to, because they probably already have reached the 500 team maximum. I was in line with plenty of time to spare. I've already reserved a house in the neighborhood for those 2 days through Airbnb for our team camp. We arrived that day ready to pay our registration fee, $34 a person, $204 in total. And frankly, I want to know that a man can be his authentic self, even in the so-called tolerant milieu of River West. That is a story. Now, I have also reached out to the River West 24 through the contact link on their website. I have also not received a response. I talked with the listener just before showtime, actually. He called me back after I followed up on his email just to get some more key points. And I said, look, it's your word against the River West 24 representative in that you were just kicked out because of your Trump chain and Trump hat. Were you naked at the time and mistakenly signing up for River West 24 and not the World Naked Bike Ride? He said he was fully clothed. And I said, look, did she come up and snark to you about the hat? You said something back to her. It got out of control. It's a big yelling match. He swears he did not. That she simply saw the hat, saw the chain, and said, you're out. Donald Trump does not represent the values of River West 24, and you cannot be wearing his merch here. There is another wrinkle to the story that actually, in talking to this listener, I was frankly a tad surprised by. We will get into that coming up next when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns. It's conservative thought, not just talk.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Captive Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Hello, it's Roman Weiniger at Five Corners Dodge Chrysler Jeep and Ram Truck announcing Get Employee Pricing Plus. Yes, you get employee pricing on brand new vehicles, and you get rebates too. That is rebates with employee pricing on new Dodge Chrysler Jeep and Ram trucks on select models. Get up to $12,900 off on a brand new Ram 1500 Crew Cab. That is employee pricing. Best of the best. Save now on a new Jeep Grand Cherokee. Employee Pricing Plus. Rebates and discounts. Get $5,670 off. Five Corners Auto Group, Highway 60, Cedarburg.
I'm Dave Brownsdorf, president of Flawless Flooring. It's true, there's nothing quite like the scent of freshly steam-cleaned, worn carpet other than a wet dog or cat's litter box. However, Flawless's customer satisfaction-driven, unprecedented growth pinched the Milwaukee metro flooring industry to the point major carpet companies are no more. We've added quality carpeting lines, becoming your true one-stop flooring shop. Flawless Flooring's New Berlin and Delafield showrooms feature virtually unheard of in the flooring industry, upfront, accurate pricing, including installation on every display. Know how much carpet, LVP, or modern laminate flooring you need? You can calculate exact pricing as you shop. Want to expand your existing hardwood flooring? Flawless's employee-only craftsmen strip existing flooring, install new hardwood, then finish old and new together for a perfect, looks all original floor. Lock in purchasing power of today's dollars for money you'll earn up to 21 months from now with Flawless's no money down, zero interest financing. Sensory under load, Flawless Flooring. FlawlessFlooringLLC.com. That's FlawlessFlooringLLC.com.
We didn't write the headline. The Wall Street Journal did. The days of set and forget investing just ended for many Americans. Economic uncertainty and global unrest. It's a wake-up call. Standard financial advice is to avoid making rash decisions during market turmoil. But retirement planning isn't a set it and forget it process anymore. That's where Annex Wealth Management comes in. As fee-only fiduciaries, we craft personalized plans that adapt as needed. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Head to AnnexWealth.com and click the Get Started button.
Warshawski trial attorney Frank Crivello here.
Folks, I'm Victor Harding. Frank is selected Best Lawyers 2024 Complex Litigation Lawyer of the Year.
More impressive is Victor Harding named Product Liability Attorney for 2024.
It may sound boastful to mention awards.
It's not boastful considering if you or someone you love is injured, you need to know two attorneys from the same personal injury firm being chosen by other lawyers and judges for these caliber of awards is very rare.
Heaven forbid you ever need an injury claim made on your behalf. If you do, the quality of your attorney and law firm will have a greater impact on the outcome than even the facts of your case.
Former clients, other lawyers, judges, law enforcement officers, and even insurance adjusters,
often our adversaries,
refer their family and friends to Warshawski because they know Warshawski will achieve maximum compensation.
Injured? It is about me.
Warshawski.com.
That's Warshawski.com.
A Generac automatic standby generator that kicks right in when your power goes out is great peace of mind. Get a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from the #1 Generac dealer, Generator Supercenter. Go to GeneratorSupercenterofLakeCountry.com.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368.
At Wisconsin's own AccuNet Mortgage, our closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 less than the banks or the mortgage guys with the Rocket for exactly the same rate. Find out how much you can save at ACCUNET.com.
Not everyone who handles your personal information is as careful as you are, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the United States. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock will monitor hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. And if your identity is stolen, a U.S.-based restoration specialist will fix it guaranteed or your money back. Save 40% your first year with my name, Clay, as your promo code at LifeLock.com. LifeLock, for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. We are lighting it up for 3 hours. Apparently, my producer, Eric, had a call from a very sweet old lady who is upset that out of all of the great things that President Trump is doing right now, as I said, he's on a generational run, that I'm leading with a bike ride story. Oh, it was a guy? Okay, the sweet old lady was calling to ask about something else. Okay, the guy was upset that with the generational run Trump is on right now, I led with the bike ride. Have no fear. We actually dedicate an entire segment to all of the things the Trump White House is doing. It's the Daily Trump Date. It is coming up at about 4:30 this afternoon. We will get into in much greater depth. It's a 3-hour show, ladies and gentlemen. And plus, this story just spoke to me. And I'm always biased towards exclusive stories, as this one is. We will also get an update on some of the exclusive details I broke yesterday. Yes, while I was at Mother's Day brunch on X, which is why you got to follow me on social media at Dan O'Donnell Show there, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. It's where I will break stories. If I don't happen to be near a microphone, which is 21 hours out of each day and all 24 hours on Saturday and Sunday, I will break stories on social media. It does appear that the fire that has now killed 6 people, a 6th victim at that horrific apartment fire in Milwaukee, it does appear that that was intentionally set. There was not one big, fire it just went up just before, I believe, 8 a.m. The first 911 calls started coming in, that there were multiple small fires set, which is typically a telltale sign of arson. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms on the scene, federal investigators on the scene today. The Milwaukee Police Department's arson unit has been on the scene, fire department investigators. It does appear that this was an intentional act. What was it? An intentional act to burn down the building? Was it, somebody playing with fire, as often happens, that it's an intentionally set fire, but the intent is not to burn down an entire building. It's a kid, say, lighting up something in the kitchen or something like that. We don't quite know yet. What we do know is that 6 people are now dead. I am told that at least one other who is in critical condition is in very, very bad shape. It's entirely possible that a 7th person will end up dying as a result of this tragedy. We'll get you updated on that as we can. But yes, this story is an exclusive. One of my listeners reached out after saying he was rejected from the River West 24 bike ride. It's a 24-hour bike, not really a race, but it's just kind of an endurance test. It's a fun event. It showcases Milwaukee's River West neighborhood. He says he was rejected solely because he was wearing a Make America Great Again hat and a gold Trump chain when he went with a couple of his buddies to register in the VIP line at the Black Husky Brewery on Saturday, not this past Saturday, Saturday before. Here's where the story gets interesting. My listener told me today that his employer, who is a Democrat and a very well-known one, was furious about this. That employer is also a major sponsor of the River West 24. It is the Lakefront Brewery. My source, who did not want his name out there, works for the Lakefront Brewery. One of the owners, the 2 brothers who own Lakefront, Russ, heard the story because they get involved in this in large measure because it's a cool River West event. They're part of the community. They love doing stuff like this and supporting events like this. Lakefront Brewery is fantastic. We go there like every year, day after Christmas. It's been a tradition. One of my buddies, he has his birthday every year. We go take the same tour. I could probably give the tour by now. It's a great place. It's always fun. Good place. Not known for their support of Make America Great Again hats and Trump gold chains, but in this case, Russ, according to my source, was livid and apparently told him that if his team is not reinstated, Lakefront Brewery will consider pulling all of its support from the River West 24 bike race. Now, Russ himself is a pretty well-known Democrat. In fact, I think either he or the other brother, they give money to Democrats. They are Democrats and liberal Democrats. I can't imagine he thinks very highly of President Trump, regardless of Trump's generational run. What he does care about, however, is one of his employees, and apparently someone he's friends or very friendly with, is being discriminated against because of his clothing and his viewpoint. Now, it's one thing if he shows up wearing the gold chain and the red hat and he gets berated. Don't you know that Donald Trump hates immigrants and gays and black people and everybody else? It's quite another to say, based on how the guy came dressed, he's not allowed in. Like, what other hateful organizations would you not allow in? A couple of days after this, a new pope was elected for the Catholic Church. If you came in wearing a Pope Leo XIV shirt, would you not be allowed to sign up for the River West 24 bike ride because of the Catholic Church's history with pedophile priests, or the fact that the Catholic Church doesn't allow gay people to get married? Where do we stop here? Again, I have heard no response. Neither has my source heard any response from River West 24. But suffice it to say, they should probably consider overruling whoever it was they had working the VIP table on Saturday and allow this team in if they still want Lakefront Brewery to support the River West 24. Russ is perfectly fine throwing all his dollars behind the World Naked Bike Ride. No, I'm kidding. I just made that up. I just cannot stop making fun of the absurdity. Like the River West 24 seems like a cool event. You go with a bunch of people and you go in shifts, and the goal is to keep your team continually going around this 4 or 5 mile track for 24 hours straight. And it's a big block party. It's a huge event. I'm told it's just very cool. It's very fun. But conservatives just aren't welcome. The whole purpose, they say on their website, is for everyone in River West to take part. They want it to be a huge community event, except if you think at all differently from the one lady with the clipboard at the VIP table. If you do, you're not allowed in. Well, lady, how do you feel if all of a sudden the riders and the spectators can't get Lakefront Brewery beer? If anyone from Lakefront Brewery, Lakefront Brewery or the River West 24 or the World Naked Bike Ride, for example, if they want to provide photographic evidence that not everyone who takes part in the World Naked Bike Ride is someone who should definitely not be naked in public, they can provide me with said photographic evidence. But if the River West 24 people would like to get a hold of me, easiest way to do so, DOD@iHeartMedia.com. Would I be allowed to go? If you saw the name Dan O'Donnell would I just be, because of what I do for a living, because of how I use the exact same free speech rights that you have to say things that you disagree with politically, would I be allowed to be in your inclusive River West event or no? So in one sense, that caller was right. This story is just about a bike ride. But in another, it's about something a lot deeper. If we truly do value free speech, if we do truly value tolerance and value inclusivity and value, dare I say, diversity, even diversity of thought, we should all be outraged by the River West 24's decision. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Conservative thought, not just talk. Back to it in just a second.
Spring means that green is busting out everywhere, including your wallet. If you play the nationwide Spring Green Cash Contest on News Talk 1130 WISN 9 times each weekday, listen for the keyword, enter it at newstalk1130.com, and you might snag the hourly prize of $1,000.
The Spring Green Cash Contest is presented by ARR Recycling. Recycling pays. Bring your copper, brass, lead, steel, or aluminum to their West Dallas or Waukesha locations and get cash. ARR Recycling since 1938.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for my friends at the Lynch family of dealerships. And one of my favorite things about Lynch is they give back to the communities they do business in. And this month, they're honoring our military personnel. For the month of May, it's Military Appreciation Month at Lynch. Members of the military receive $1,000 off all eligible new cars. And with over 700 new vehicles in stock, Lynch likely has the vehicle you're looking for all ready to go. And every vehicle comes with Lynch Protected. It covers your tires, windshield, and paint for 1 year and keeps your vehicle looking like new. Financing as low as 0%. Also available this month, Military Appreciation Month, at your favorite Lynch location in Burlington, Kenosha, West Bend, or one of their 3 rooftops in Mukwonago. Military Appreciation Month with $1,000 off new vehicles and financing as low as 0% at the Lynch family of dealerships. Visit shoplynch.com.
Henry Wadsworth Longfellow famously said, "Into each person's life, some rain must fall." At Ryan Waterproofing, we tend to agree, as long as it's not in your basement. Free estimates, because praying for drought is overrated. Ryan Waterproofing. Call Ryan.com. That's call RION.com.
We're the Libby family
at Do-It-Yourself Bathroom Center near State Fair on 62nd and Greenfield.
Bathrooms and kitchens are our specialty.
We use real wood cabinets and quartz tops to make beautiful rooms you will love for many, many years.
And our experts really know their stuff.
Remember our slogan,
I did it myself at Do-It-Yourself.
So the Donahos invited us to dinner.
Hang on, honey. Hello?
Hi, this is Lori from First American Bank.
Whoa, honey, it's the bank. Listen to how real this AI voice sounds.
Hello?
Yes, hello. I'm calling about your First American Bank home equity line of credit application.
That is free.
Right? What do I press for? Representative.
Oh, you don't press anything. I'm a real person.
Now it's claiming to be a real person.
Wow.
Sir, along with First American Bank's best loan deals in town, we pride ourselves on providing impeccable personal service. That's why you get me, a real-life specialist, to help you every step of the way with your loan. Isn't that more useful than passing you off to an artificial intelligence chatbot?
What's 2 times 2?
4.
Who created the Dewey Decimal System?
Melville Dewey.
Limburger sandwich or cheese curds?
Oh, you're not dragging me into that one.
First American Bank, the bank that does more for your money. Visit firstambank.com or call us at 262-577-2400. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Is your garage floor cracked and pitted or ugly and flaky because an epoxy job didn't hold up? Well, call Comer & Cross. All Comer & Cross floor coatings include an industry-leading 15-year warranty. Get started at comercross.com. That's COMER cross.com.
I'm Total Health's Jay Johnson, the Falls and New Berlin. Remember looking forward to playing with your kids or grandkids and having the energy to? At Total Health, we hear it all the time. People say I'm too tired and worn out to be the person my spouse married or parent or grandparent my family deserves. Sound familiar? Total Health naturopaths find root causes of fatigue and lethargy, then treat you, the whole person, restoring energy and overall wellness. It could be dietary or thyroid function, or maybe you just need to drop some weight. Big Medicine's weight loss injection causing stomach, gallbladder, intestinal, and vascular problems works for them. Sick people are profitable. If excess weight is a contributing factor to you not feeling your best, Total Health naturopaths will never judge you. We'll be honest, providing the tools and motivation to lose weight. Then we'll be with you throughout your journey to feeling happy, healthier, energetic, and well. Be that person your family deserves. It's not theory. Relativity equals expertise plus execution. TotalHealthInc.com. That's TotalHealthInc.com.
For superior carpet cleaning, hire a company with over 75 years of experience that will get the job done right the first time. Always clean, always on time. Edelman.
Edelman Carpet, Furniture, and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman.
They said that building an outdoor kitchen bigger than your indoor kitchen would be crazy. But when you consider all the possibilities of a TrueStone Financial home equity loan with an APR as low as 5.74% and for a limited time, no closing costs, well, the sizzling burgers on that built-in grill, they say otherwise. A TrueStone home equity loan is flexible financing for just about everything, even outdoor kitchens. It's true, because we're TrueStone. Get cooking at truestone.org. Terms and conditions apply. Closing cost offer not valid with competing offers or promotions. Equal housing opportunity.
Imagine your home totally organized. At Closets by Design, we specialize in providing affordable, custom-built storage solutions with built-ins and beyond. From walk-in closets to new laundry rooms and pantries, our experienced designers work within your budget to design a solution fit perfectly to your needs. Get 40% off plus an additional 15% with 18-month financing. Visit closetsbydesign.com or call 1-800-BY-DESIGN to get started. Let's get organized together.
Made for This Mountain exists to empower listeners to rise above their struggles and face the mountain in front of them. So during Mental Health Awareness Month, focus on your emotional well-being. Tune into the podcast and climb that mountain.
You will never be able to change or grow through the thing that you refuse to identify. The thing that you refuse to say, hey, this is my mountain. This is the struggle.
Listen to Made for This Mountain on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search Made for This Mountain.
Just going back through texts from this hour, trying to catch up on some of those. Apparently, we did not play the correct stock update from our friends at whatever they're calling themselves now. We will get a real live update from Annex Wealth Management. Seriously, what does Coal call themselves now? Creative Planning. That's it. They apparently did not send an email, and it was basically Friday's stock report, right? So we just keep reusing the same file that goes in our computer system. The Dow was most certainly not down 100 points. It popped 1,100 after news of the Chinese trade deal. The S&P 500 was up 3.25%, and the NASDAQ was up 4.35%, 779 points on that news. We are roaring back. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why I say it is a generational run that President Trump is on. And I believe I misspoke at the start of this hour. I accidentally said Edon Alexander is back in the United States. I meant to say back in Israel. President Trump and his team negotiated from the United States his release by Hamas. He is back home in Israel. He is a dual citizen, American and Israeli. But he's freeing hostages. He's negotiating a peace deal. That was the thing that I completely forgot. He negotiated a ceasefire. Technically, it was Secretary of State Marco Rubio negotiating a ceasefire between India and Pakistan, averting what was hilariously called on X World War Call Center. And it's funny. It is very funny. As someone who is just on a very long customer service call with, I think his name was Jeff, whose name was most certainly not Jeff. I'm guessing one of two places, India or Pakistan. It never ceases to amaze me how good the customer service reps' English is. I mean, it's thick accent, but my good, anything you can possibly say, they have an answer to it. Their English is just damn sight better than my Indian, or Hindi, I believe is the language, or my Pakistani, or do they speak Arabic? They probably speak Arabic, whatever they speak. So the Dow and all the stock markets just on fire right now. They speak Urdu in Pakistan. This is why I like our brand new full-time producer, Eric, for getting me this information that we absolutely have to get to. Coming up, just got some more information about this fire that lends credence to the working belief that this was arson. We will get this to you probably at the top of the 4 o'clock hour. I also want to get into some of the congressional redistricting thought. I don't think this is as easy for the Wisconsin Supreme Court to do as they might have hoped. They will run afoul of the United States Supreme Court and very likely get slapped down on appeal. This is one that you can very clearly appeal to the United States Supreme Court because it deals, they would have to do a federal issue that could be appealable. Also, a congressional map is different than a state legislative map in that regard. Would they really want the embarrassment? Because I would bring it up every single time I reference the court's liberal majority, that they got slapped down in the most hilarious, embarrassing rebuke ever by the United States Supreme Court when they tried to gerrymander a congressional map. Would they really want that? And also, my good friend, data guru Joe Handrick, just absolutely blowing holes in their argument that somehow proportionality means that because Wisconsin is a 50% state, we should have 4 Democrat districts and 4 Republican districts. Yes, Eric. We do have one more break. Well, then let's take one more break. And then we'll get to the unhinged liberal of the day. Do we have Annex? Are they going to give us today's news? All right, good. We'll get to that when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Northbound 43, heavy with road work from Highland up to Keefe. Southbound delays starting at Keefe, continuing down to the Marquette and in pockets, on to 4394, down to the KK River Bridge. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
The new iHeart app just looks better.
The best feature of a car radio on the app.
It's the presets.
Super easy.
And thank you for keeping it free.
Get in on what everyone's talking about and get the new and improved free iHeartRadio app today.
Bob here for Redefine Realty, powered by EasyHomeBidder.com.
Brian here. I was in the market to buy my first home. I rushed to see houses the day they went live on MLS. Made offers on 5 houses before finally getting the 6th accepted. I would increase my bid on all 5 of the other houses I didn't get, but never got the chance.
Brian's story is tragic for Brian, but also for sellers. Brian would have paid more for each of the 5 houses he didn't get. That's 5 sellers guided by traditional MLS agents who sold their home for less than they could have. Redefined Realty, powered by EasyHomeBidder.com's auction platform and MLS, would have earned all 5 Wisconsin area home sellers more money. A lot more money. Selling a fixer-upper, a duplex, a condo, a $400,000 home, or a multi-million-dollar home. When buyers bid, sellers win. In fact, when buyers bid, buyers win too. Heck, everybody wins at Redefined Realty and EasyHomeBidder.com. Buyers win, sellers win. Obvious, but revolutionary. When buyers win, sellers win. It's real estate for winners. RedefinedRealty.com.
It's really nice of Paul and Amy to have us for dinner tonight. Wow. Check out their outdoor lighting. Certainly looks better than the one we had installed by our so-called lighting professional.
That sure does, doesn't it? Oh, hey, Paul. I'm really impressed with your outdoor lighting. When did you have that installed?
Oh, just last week.
Wow, it looks like it's been here forever. Your lawn and plants seem to be untouched.
We had world-class outdoor lighting install the system, and we couldn't have been happier. Give Brian Webb a call at 262-549-LIGHT.
Hi, I'm Brian Webb, owner of World Class Outdoor Lighting. We are a leader in technology, material, and design, which means that you can expect years of quality outdoor lighting. With multiple offices, we can serve the entire listening area. Be the envy of your neighborhood and give our main office a call to schedule your free consultation. 262-549-5483, 262-549-LITE, or visit us on the web at worldclassoutdoorlighting.com.
Hi, I'm Art Flater of Central Office Systems. Any business can be brought to its knees by thieves and IT hackers.
Chris Rozecki here. The IT guy you've known since high school doesn't have the resources to protect your organization.
Central Office Systems is the small business IT company that understands cyber with resources to back up your network.
Does your team work outside the hours of 8 to 5? Does your IT company do the same without nickel and diming you? Central Office Systems. No nickeling, no diming.
You hear those injured ads? Cameras with good resolution working properly cut down on injuries. Cameras deter thieves. Cameras deter scammers. Cameras that work.
With Central Office Systems Managed Network Support, a qualified technician grateful for the opportunity to solve your issue answers the phone within 1 minute.
Camera systems, network security, network support.
Have insurance? Will that satisfy your customers while your company's crucial business functions are zero for a week or two? Real Insurance is utilizing an IT service provider who secures your computers from ever going down.
CentralOfficeSystems.com.
At Planet Fitness, we're declaring it. This is the year of getting stronger, and you can get started now by saving when you join today. We have all the best-in-class equipment you could ever need, and you can work out your way on your time at any convenient location near you. Most open 24 hours. So let's do this. Join Planet Fitness today and save. Just $1 down, $15 a month.
Offer ends May 16th.
See Home Club for details.
A 4-day winter power outage is what had me buying an awesome Generac generator, and I've been worry-free ever since. Get a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from the #1 Generac dealer, Generator Supercenter. Go to GeneratorSupercenterofLakeCountry.com.
The talk shows on WISN Radio. Not for the faint of heart and not for the feeble of mind. News Talk 1130 WISN. Fact is, until you've heard us, you haven't heard the whole story.
Batters fetched off with the power play winner. After a whale of a series against the Rockford Ice Hogs, the Milwaukee Admirals advance to the Central Division Finals, where they'll take on the Texas Stars. Game 1 in the best-of-5 series is Thursday in Cedar Park, Texas. Face off at 7 on Fox Sports 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
Time now to know the difference. I am Dan O'Donnell. He is Brian Jacobson, Chief Economist for Annex Wealth Management, pinch hitting today for Dave Spano, the CEO. And Brian, what a day for you to be filling in, huh? I'll take that as you are too stunned. You are in awe of my very presence, Brian, to be able to speak. We appear to be having some connection issues. We'll try to get with Brian. Also, just not quite enough time to do the unhinged liberal of the day. We'll punt that to next hour or possibly the hour afterwards. It is a funny one, so I want to make sure to be able to get to that. Coming up next hour, the daily Trump date, of course, but new exclusive details about what investigators believe is an arson fire that has now killed 6 people and injured, at least critically injured, 3 others. There is a lot of second guessing about fire alarms and smoke detectors and that sort of thing, and also sprinkler systems. We'll get into all of that, plus some of the new details that I have learned just within the last hour or so. Dan O'Donnell Show coming up after this.
Listen to Benjamin Yount, weekday mornings 9 to 11 on News Talk 1130 WISN Milwaukee. And make WISN the #1 preset on your car radio and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. Today, President Trump signed an executive order that he says will bring down prescription drug and pharmaceutical prices. Milwaukee police are investigating a double shooting that left 2 adults hurt early this morning near 63rd and Capitol. Police say both a 20 and 21-year-old were shot a little north of Deneen Park. And a man is behind bars after a deadly hit-and-run crash over the weekend on the south side of the city of Milwaukee. Fox 6's Carl Deffenbaugh.
Police say a 90-year-old was crossing the street near 35th and National when a driver hit that person with their car and kept on going. The pedestrian died, and the driver, a 41-year-old man, was identified and arrested.
Checking the Holiday Automotive of Fond du Lac Sports Scoreboard. Brewers open up a 3-game series tonight against the Guardians in Cleveland. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Dave Michaels on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Sunny and warm today with temperatures in the 70s lakeside and around 80 inland. Clouds increase tonight with scattered rain showers on Tuesday. Temperatures remain mild in the 60s and 70s. Severe thunderstorms are possible by late Thursday. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Stephanie Barrichello.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get 60% off, free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Captive Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Are you on track to achieve your retirement plans? Hi, I'm Jeff Kowal of Kowal Investment Group. We've recently joined Creative Planning, a national registered investment advisor. This move to Creative expands our ability to provide comprehensive wealth management, investment advisory, and retirement planning services. Now is the time to put your lifetime of hard work into action. For over 37 years, we've helped clients toward making their retirement dreams become a reality. And we'd like to help you too. And the best part, will be completely tailored to you. Our in-house team of specialists will take the time to learn about you and your family, review your current situation, and find out what your goals are. Then we'll design a plan to help you get there. To get started, request your free meeting today with one of our fiduciary advisors by visiting creativeplanning.com. Whether you have met with us in the past or this will be your first meeting with us, we're excited to introduce Kowal Investment Group to you as Creative Planning. Visit creativeplanning.com today.
Is your home's interior or exterior ready for a transformation? At Culver's Painting, we revitalize your space with precision and care. Give your home the upgrade it deserves inside and out. Culver's Painting. Quality craftsmanship, exceptional results. Call 262-PAINTER or visit culverspainting.com to schedule your estimate today.
A little inside baseball that you may or may not know. I won't endorse a business unless I've used the product myself or I've thoroughly researched it and believe in it. Hi, everybody. It's Jay Weber. When the folks at Semperfi Roofing approached me to be their spokesman, I didn't need a new roof, so I went to work doing the research. I've got to tell you, I don't think I've ever seen customer reviews quite like what I found with Semperfi. Hundreds of 5-star reviews, and not just vanilla 5-star ratings or simple clicks. Semperfi's customers are very outspoken about the great customer service and expert installation they received. Look, hiring the right contractor is a big decision. There's a lot of fly-by-nighters out there. If you want a new roof, perfectly installed for real peace of mind, I've already done the research for you. I cannot recommend Semperfi Roofing highly enough. Call for your free no-obligation estimate, 262-600-2910, 262-600-2910, or online at semperfiroofing.com. That's semperfiroofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi.
Our home sure feels empty now that the kids are gone. Maybe it's time to start thinking about a new home in a size that fits our life. With Belinsky Condos, we'll get peace of mind without sacrificing amenities. Plus, accessibility features like the no-step garage entry and wide hallways allow us to live comfortably today and 10 years from now. Visit Belinsky.com to learn more.
Your home cleaning friend, it's Edelman again. Edelman.
In 21st century America, it's hard to know who or what to believe. The bureaucracy embraces its own agenda. The news media vilifies traditional American values. Social media is a sewer of disinformation. News Talk 1130 WISN is the counterpoint to all of it. We believe in intellectual honesty, and we believe that good and decent people are more than capable of processing that honesty and be better better off for it. Believe us, because we believe in you. News Talk 1130 WISN.
Well, it's just a day of corrections today. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel erroneously reported first that 4 people had died in the big apartment fire yesterday. The Highland Court Apartments is a very, very big 85-unit apartment complex near 27th and Highland. And they initially reported 4. That number got updated to 5, and then they put out a breaking news bar saying a 6th person has died. This is a little unnerving that we're not entirely sure who's dead or alive, but apparently we have settled on 5 victims. I am told that a number of the victims are just in very, very bad shape, and it's possibly not looking good. Possibly we got an erroneous report that 1 had passed away. But as of right now, 5 people are dead and 4 remain in critical condition. They are, as identified by the Journal-Sentinel, Terrell D. Coleman, who was 40 years old, Verna Richards, 62, Mark A. Chafflin, 76, Maureen Green, 67, and 1 unidentified woman, according to the Milwaukee County Medical Examiner's Office. What I have been able to confirm exclusively now, I reported yesterday that this was being immediately investigated as a possible arson because of what were told to me were small fires that were started. I am now being told that those fires that were set throughout the complex in hallways and in common areas that spread into multiple apartments, they were on the 3rd and 4th floors, and people couldn't escape due to just the intense heat and the smoke. These were not small fires, which might indicate, okay, it's, a kid who is doing something insanely dangerous and something that should never, ever, ever be done. But it wasn't someone who is intentionally trying to burn the entire place down. Multiple sources have now told me within the past hour that these were not small fires, that these were not something that would indicate a fire that was intentionally set, but was not set with the intent of doing insane amounts of damage, killing multiple people. It is now the working theory that this is absolutely arson, and that these fires were set with the intent of doing maximum damage. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives on the scene. Okay, we'll get to Annex. Yeah, we've got them on the hotline. We just couldn't get our two-way connected. We'll get them in just a second. Also, I completely forgot, Congressman Scott Fitzgerald is going to join us coming up after the Daily Trump Date, probably at about 4:35, to talk about President Trump's generational run and everything else you need to know about the possibility of passage of the big, beautiful bill by Memorial Day. I'm told 4th of July is what they're actually going for. What he thinks about the announcement today on prescription drug prices, much, much more. Forgot to mention that. Congressman Scott Fitzgerald today. It has been a busy day, ladies and gentlemen. I've been running around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to get a bunch of different exclusive stories. I do it all for you, and it is a labor of love. We'll get to, how about we get to Annex right after we give out the word of this hour, and then we will get back into the arson, because the thing that is a lot of people are angry, furious about is that this apartment complex didn't have sprinklers. And the fact that there is a grandfather clause that allows any building built before, I believe it's 1968. Yeah, 1968 is allowed to exist without sprinkler systems. And in a massive facility like this, obviously that can have deadly consequences. At the same time, it is tremendously, prohibitively expensive to install a sprinkler system in a new home. You got to tear up walls. You got to do all sorts of stuff. No, I don't want the exact cost from people who do this. I've got a sprinkler system in my house, and it's what you have to put in now. Just like smoke detectors years ago, seat belts. Now we don't even think twice about it. But if you think a building that was built decades and decades and decades ago that has to be retrofitted with sprinkler systems, well, we'll get into that in just a second. Spring Green Cash Contest word this hour is green, Green, green. You've got until 55 past the hour to go to our website and enter the keyword green to enter the contest for this hour. Your entry is picked at random, $1,000 in your pocket. Without any further ado, we bring in Brian Jacobson. He is the chief economist for Annex Wealth Management. We've been having some crossed wire issues. I'm not saying, Brian, it's the fact that we've got a new producer, but well, okay, I am totally saying that. No, we had a technical glitch, but you are here now. We were joking that you were just so in awe of my presence that it left you speechless before the top of the hour. You are sitting in for Dave Spano, helping us know the difference. And what a day for you to be sitting in, Brian, because we had quite the run amidst Trump's, what I'm calling generational run. And the biggest piece of that, not India-Pakistan ceasefire, not even Edon Alexander, the last remaining American Hamas hostage coming back home to Israel, but this deal with China. Markets are soaring, and I think with good reason.
Yeah, and really, there were four main things that happened over the weekend. Obviously, Mother's Day was fantastic, but we had the China trade deal. We also then had the outlines of the House bill as well, as far as for taxing and spending. You had pharma price controls coming in that were not quite as bad as a lot of people were expecting. And then those major geopolitical developments that you mentioned, not least of which probably Russia-Ukraine ceasefire talks, Iran deal progress, India-Pakistan, Gaza hostages. So, there's like 7 different things that you could look at, but the biggest one was probably the China trade deal.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that, because that was the biggest bit of uncertainty. I mean, prescription drug prices, yes, that's a big deal to everyone who's on prescription drugs. And I'll explain a little bit later on what the executive order actually does, because I think a lot of people are quite confused about, well, how can he just lower drug prices? Well, he can't, but what he can do is, we'll get into that a little bit later. The biggest bit of uncertainty, though, Brian, was clearly, was there ever going to be a deal, and was there ever going to be a substantive deal? I think we always looked for a 90-day ceasefire, so to speak, with China that, would put the tariffs on hold for 3 months while negotiations continued. I don't think there were a lot of people when this weekend started who were expecting the sort of deal that was announced today.
Well, that's correct. And I'm actually kind of curious if President Trump was anticipating that it was going to go as well as what it did, because if you remember on Friday, he had that post on Truth Social about saying 80% sounds good, right? Which Treasury Secretary Bessent clarified that meant in terms of to reopen trade. That's kind of that line between, if it's lower than that, then you've got trade between the two countries. Above that, it's effectively an embargo. But a lot of people were expecting it was going to be 60%, comes in at 30%, plus President Trump saying today that it's going to be a lot of reductions and elimination of these non-tariff trade barriers, like the state subsidies to the Chinese businesses, the ownership rights as far as the ability of U.S. firms to enter those markets, all sorts of different restrictions, which are probably more prohibitive of trade than the tariffs themselves, because oftentimes it's these non-tariff trade barriers that are bigger barriers to trade than just the simple tax that's applied when goods get into the port.
Yeah, that's it exactly. It's not the things that we see from the outside. It's the things that people involved in trade with China have to deal with. Those are the things that President Trump was using the blunt instrument of tariffs to try to surgically excise from our trade relationship. Brian Jacobson, he is the chief economist for Annex Wealth Management. Head to annexwealth.com, get a review of your portfolio, know what you own and why you own it. All right. If you would like to join the Dan O'Donnell Show, 414-799-1130 is our adventknows.com talk and text line. You can also reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me, dod@iheartmedia.com. A reminder, probably 90% of the stories that I break, the exclusives that we get on this show, and it's multiple per day, it seems like, and big stories. 90% of them that don't come from existing sources come from just an email. Where we got the story that we led off this show with, the River West 24 bike ride, kicking out a team because the dude dared to wear a MAGA hat and a Trump gold chain when he went to go sign up, ticking off his boss, one of the founders of Lakefront Brewery, Russ, who is so furious at this viewpoint discrimination against one of his employees that he actually threatened to pull his sponsorship if this team was not put back in. That story just started as an email last night. I investigated it. It gets on the air, and hopefully something can happen. You want to watch this show at Dan O'Donnell Show on X. And a lot of times the stories that we break, a lot of the details that I had exclusively about this apartment fire, I broke on Twitter or X, if you prefer, at Dan O'Donnell Show there. Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show, same thing. If I'm not on the air, I'm on social media. Follow me, set alerts, because I don't tweet often. I'm not one of these guys who just sits on X constantly and tweets. When I tweet, it's usually because of some exclusive story or some pithy joke. Like yesterday, for example, I went somewhat viral on Facebook because I made an AI mock-up on Grok, which is X's AI, of Governor Evers. I just said, make an image of Governor Evers in a pretty Mother's Day bonnet. And it did. And I laughed. So I posted the image along with the message, Happy Inseminated Persons Day. So I do hope, and I am sincere about this, I do hope that all of the inseminated persons in our listening audience had a wonderful Inseminated Persons Day. We actually treated my inseminated person to a wonderful brunch at the place we got married. We go there every year along with the entire family. Do you know what I got her for Inseminated Persons Day? The kids were excited about this. Well, I got her a pickleball net. Because we're apparently old people who play pickleball now, we're leaning into being an old couple who plays pickleball. She wanted one of those little fitness trampolines. And so far, I just got a video sent to me probably 10 minutes ago of my 10-year-old daughter bouncing on the trampoline. So a gift that was supposed to be for Inseminated Persons Day is now a toy for, she was using it I woke up this morning. I was up late doing some work. I woke up this morning. She gets up earlier and, sees the kids off and whatever. I woke up and then we go to a workout class together. I wake up to boom, 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 boom. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. She's on that stupid trampoline in our bedroom. So all in all, it was a wonderful inseminated person's day at the O'Donnell house. Everyone is up in arms over the lack of sprinklers at this apartment fire near 27th and Highland. There are thousands of buildings without sprinklers. This one was targeted by arson. Yes, do I believe every building should have a sprinkler system? Absolutely. Do I understand that it's cost prohibitive and we don't need a new municipal ordinance requiring all of those buildings that were grandfathered in when the law changed in 1974? I got that number wrong. The apartment, the one that went up in flames yesterday morning, was built in 68. Buildings constructed before 1974 with certain sizes, shapes, dimensions, and occupancy not required to have sprinklers. That, according to Aaron Lipsky, fire chief, quoted in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Lipsky said, and Lipsky is a pro's pro. This guy is the sort of man you want in a fire chief. He said the lack of sprinklers dramatically affected the survivability of those in the apartment. It's the grandfather clause. Nobody was required to go back and make that building fire safe, and you result with this today. We have fought this for many, many years across the United States. I'm kind of on his side, frankly. I think owners of these buildings, if they want to, homes I can understand because it's easier to get out, right? You're not on the 12th floor where if there's a fire below you, what do? There's the 911 audio. I have all the 911 calls. I don't see any value in broadcasting those. You hear just the terror of people having to jump out. They're throwing small children out because if they don't, it's certain death. Homes I can understand. All right, it's cost prohibitive for a homeowner to go in and install a sprinkler system. It's one family. You can choose whether or not you want to have a sprinkler system. If you want to run that risk, okay. 85 apartments on how many floors? I sort of think you should force landlords to retrofit these buildings, at least in the common areas, right? At least in the hallways, at least in the staircases. My goodness, there was a sprinkler system in the parking structure because they had code violations a couple of years ago. Journal-Sentinel did a good job investigating this story, looking into stuff like this, or they might have just regurgitated what the chief said. I don't know. I was in and out following this story because obviously it was Inseminated Persons Day and I was out with my family celebrating. But it just seems to me as though it's impossible for people to survive in a building like this if this thing happens. And let's not kid ourselves. This appears to be, and it is, I can report exclusively, being investigated as an arson. When you have fires start in multiple locations, that's a telltale sign. One location, okay, it's electricity, it's a gas bill, whatever it is. Multiple locations, that looks targeted. Clearly, that's the proximate or primary cause of all of this death. But another one is the fact that this building just did not seem to be safe enough. And I'm not saying, I don't know what the solution is. Do we need a state law requiring it? I think you would have to do a cost analysis of what the cost would, what literally would be the cost to every building that would be required to do this. How do you do this so that it's not discriminatory in that, this building with 85 units has to get one, but one building with 84 units does not have to. I'm not pretending I know the answers to this, and I'm not saying this was at all preventable, but if some of those people could be alive today, if we had a sprinkler system in this building, as Lipsky said later in his press conference, he said, yeah, I hear it's expensive. Look at the cost today. Look at the human cost today. Daily Trump Date. We will outline President Trump's generational run over the past couple of days coming up next.
The Dan O'Donnell Show.
We'll be right back. From the Lynch GM Superstore in Burlington Total Traffic Center.
Pretty lousy southbound 4145 Good Hope to Burleigh, taking a half hour down to the Zoo interchange. Northbound takes 20. Your delays get better after Hampton. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
I'm Dave Brownsdorf, president of Flawless Flooring. Realtor.com says depending on location and a few other factors, new hardwood floors add as much as 2.5% to home sale value, even if you plan to sell. Enjoy home more now while increasing your sale price with Flawless's LVP, hardwood, or amazing realistic, super wear-resistant modern laminate plank. Steamy wet dog and litter box aromas bother homeowners and buyers. But you say, Dave, we want the sound deadening and warmth underfoot of carpet? Our Delafield and New Berlin showrooms have countless style and combination flooring choices, including quality luxury carpet lines. Steamy stains and carpet stink, including pet fluids, wipe off flawless floorings, luxury vinyl plank, and modern laminate plank, zero steam effortlessly. Our employee-only craftsmen meticulously refinish existing hardwood, even perfectly blending additional hardwood with existing. With Flawless's nothing down, zero interest financing, upgrade today and pay over 21 months. Sensory underload, Flawless Flooring. FlawlessFlooringLLC.com.
Biz Expo is May 13th at Brookfield Conference Center. Learn from the experts at the strategy seminars and keynote presentation on resilient leadership. Connect with business leaders and customers at Biz Expo May 13th. Register at biztimes.com/bizexpo.
It's the Buy Now, Save Now event going on at all Russ Darrow locations. With the lowest cost of vehicle ownership in years, now's the time to upgrade your ride. Visit any Russ Darrow location across Wisconsin or russdarrow.com to save big today.
We didn't write the headline. The Wall Street Journal did. The days of set and forget investing just ended for many Americans. Economic uncertainty and global unrest. It's a wake-up call. Standard financial advice is to avoid making rash decisions during market turmoil. But retirement planning isn't a set it and forget it process anymore. That's where Annex Wealth Management comes in. As fee-only fiduciaries, we craft personalized plans that adapt as needed. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Head to annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button.
I'm Reset Restore MD's Dr. Jennifer Grieve. For people that are suffering from depression, anxiety, and PTSD who are desperate for relief, intravenous ketamine can provide the relief of a lifetime that other therapies can't. Listen to R&R MD patient feedback.
Depression plagued me for years. Antidepressants, supplements, yoga, meditating, even energy drinks, nothing worked. After the first R&R MD ketamine treatment, the fog that gripped my brain for years was gone. It broke my caffeine addiction. I had energy, zero anxiety, zero fatigue, zero depression day one.
The staff at the clinic is amazing. The results phenomenal. Anyone suffering depression or anxiety, this is the only therapy that ever worked.
IV ketamine infusions at Brookfield or Mequon's Reset Restore MD induce neuroplasticity, triggering rapid growth of therapeutic neurological connections. R&R MD's superior intravenous ketamine infusions take about an hour, but the relief can continue for weeks, months, even a lifetime. R&R for relief, Reset Restore MD, rnrmd.com.
If you're trying to get through your daily activities and you're noticing you can't because you're focusing more on your pain than being able to enjoy the moment, those are the patients that we're looking to treat because we can make a difference.
That's Dr. Ashley Caravelli, Milwaukee's medical director for QC Kinetics.
What we're doing at QC Kinetics is offering treatments that help with joint preservation. We use cutting-edge technology in our in-house lab to harness your body's natural healing powers and target the areas where you need them the most.
These are regenerative, non-surgical treatments, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader, delivering lasting relief to tens of thousands of patients.
What we do know is that the sooner we start treatment, the sooner you'll see relief.
So don't wait another minute. See if you're a good candidate for these non-surgical treatments for joint pain. The consultation is completely free.
Weekend appointments available. Call now. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474.
414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules. All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference. Opinion, emotion, passion. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
Coming up in just a couple of minutes, we talk with Wisconsin Congressman Scott Fitzgerald about President Trump's tariffs. I think I'm going to ask him about the efforts to redraw Wisconsin's congressional maps that Democrats have already launched. They couldn't even wait a month after they waited maybe a month and a couple of days after the new liberal Justice Susan Crawford ensured that they're going to have 2 more years of liberal control of the court before filing a lawsuit designed to overturn Wisconsin's congressional maps, which were drawn by Governor Evers and his People's Maps Commission. Before we get to that, and a very, very special unsung hero of the day, so special, in fact, that we've got new theme music just for this one, and I will explain coming up later in the hour. It's time now for the Daily Trump Date.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning.
Well, a whole lot of winning for the Trump administration.
We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
Just a couple of hours ago, the last remaining American hostage, Edon Alexander, who is a dual citizen of the United States and Israel, was reunited with his family. This is what it sounded like. His brother, his mother, as you can tell, very, very excited to have Edon back home. And this deal was negotiated at the exact same time the Trump State Department was negotiating a ceasefire between India and Pakistan following a flare-up of tensions there and the downing of several Indian planes, as well as peace talks that are aimed at a more lasting ceasefire than the 2 or 3 day affairs that we've had in the Ukraine-Russia conflict. As President Trump takes off today for the Middle East, it is expected that Volodymyr Zelensky and Vladimir Putin will talk face-to-face with an aim towards ending that 3-year-long conflict. President Trump's generational run continues, of course, because at the same time that was negotiated, after he negotiates a trade agreement with the United Kingdom, he also, through his Treasury Secretary, as well as another couple of trade representatives meeting with their Chinese counterparts, were able to negotiate a trade, at least the framework of a trade deal that will include a 90-day pause on all Chinese tariffs, as well as bringing that tariff rate down from 145% all the way down to 30%, the standard 10% tariff rate that President Trump has proposed for all of those other nations, in addition to about a 20% punitive rate, which was tacked on because China was unable to control the flow of fentanyl into the United States. Now, when I say generational run, I mean generational run. We also have exclusive reporting from Bill Malugin, internal CBP data reveals the Border Patrol apprehended 8,383 illegal aliens at the southern border in April, down 93% from the nearly 129,000 in April of 2024. Only 5 aliens were released in April, compared to roughly 68,000 released last April under the Biden administration. CBP tells Malugin that those 5 releases were only temporary for special interest court dates. April 2025 averaged 279 Border Patrol apprehensions of illegals per day. April 2024 averaged 4,297 Border Patrol apprehensions per day. I'm telling you, generational run. As if that wasn't enough, President Trump this morning signed his executive order aimed at lowering prescription drug prices, and he was asked about critiques that it amounted to price controls.
I can respond to that this is not price control. No. What was price control is before. If you want to talk about price control, is what they were doing. They were making us pay. They set a price, and they said, here's what we're going to pay, and anything else charge America. Because at that time, they had a very stupid president, and it really went crazy during the last 4 years. And remember this, the Democrats are the ones that allowed this to happen. They were the ones that were the protector of this pricing system.
And the president says many of them will basically be forced to support his big, beautiful bill that does even more for the American healthcare system. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your daily Trump Day. Joining us now with reaction to what I am calling President Trump's generational run, Wisconsin Congressman Scott Fitzgerald. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us. Do you agree? Is this a generational run that we're witnessing?
Just phenomenal. I mean, what President Trump has been able to do over the last, not only the first 100 days, but now this winning streak continues to kind of reestablish the basis for just about everything that we have dealt with within the federal government. It's just been incredible.
Your take on the Chinese agreement, because this, I think, even bigger than the executive order, what it basically does is make the United States, it gives it most favored nation status. It does not allow other countries, it does not allow drug companies to basically say, okay, well, this drug is going to be this price in the European Union and a much higher price in the United States. While that was the one that they were really touting, the far bigger deal, I think, is the Chinese trade agreement. How do you read that?
Yeah, I mean, being able to get access to Chinese markets, and I think you're going to have to go back. It's going to have to be trust but verify on that front. But, you know, I was around in 2008, 2009 when there was a mass rush to establish U.S. corporations in and around Beijing. And, you know, what we found was that it was a kind of a sucker's bet, right? I mean, once they got in there and once they started to peel off some of the not only development, but I think in and around light manufacturing, started to figure out kind of America's edge, it started to turn on us. And it isn't until now with President Trump in this term kind of blowing the lid off of that and calling their bluff and saying, enough's enough. You're not going to continue to steal not only our trade secrets, but also if you look at it, there's some competitive things that have been happening here in the States, which I think you can connect the dots to and say this is absolutely something that's coming out of China.
Congressman Scott Fitzgerald joining me here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. As you read it, what is the status of the big, beautiful bill? What are we looking at in terms of a timeline here?
We had a 1-hour briefing last night. It was about an hour of discussion about what's in the E&C bill, Energy and Commerce provisions. I am not there on the Medicaid reform items. It's something that I've been vocal about going back to February. And I think there's another group of members of the House that are also kind of in that same position. If you're one of the 10 states that did not take the Medicaid expansion, and we're talking big states, Dan. We're talking Florida. We're talking Texas. We're talking Georgia. We're talking Tennessee. These are big Medicaid states, not to mention Wisconsin and then the smallest of states, Wyoming. But there's 10 states that right now are trying to negotiate something a little bit tougher, a little bit more difficult, I think. And the big thing is to get these adults that are currently able-bodied adults, get them off of Medicaid. And if we're not going to go that far, I think you're going to have a hard time getting the support in that one area under E&C. Ways and Means today had another briefing. It's about the tax package. Most of that is just a full restoration of the tax cuts from the first go-round. I would be fine with that. I think there are some things that we can do that certainly I think would better prepare some of the sectors that are important, agriculture, tourism, for the most part, again, like manufacturing, where you can make some adjustments on that tax package. The stuff related to, I think, everyday families, I think is in good shape right now. And I think that Chairman Smith has done a good job on that front.
The biggest items I think you're talking to on that score, is that the no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, or would that be part of the tax piece of this?
Yeah, in the Social Security, it appears what they've done is they've taken a dollar amount, which is currently at about $2,000 on an exemption you don't pay taxes in on, and they're expanding that. They haven't arrived at a final number on that. Sure. But I think it'll be something that the president will embrace, and it should help a lot of senior citizens out there that are on Social Security.
One thing I also want to talk to you about, because while this does impact you, not directly, because it's not likely to impact your district. Last week, we had a lawsuit filed by Democrats, of course, to try to challenge the Democrat-drawn congressional map of Wisconsin because it favors Republicans too much. Your thoughts on that, Congressman?
Yeah, I have to be careful, or, as well as anybody, I'll end up in a deposition at some point. But
No, you don't. You can speak your mind on this show, sir. I don't have to sit with you in the deposition. So
you're right.
I know you have to be careful. That's why I wasn't totally expecting an answer. Please do say what you can, though.
No, it's expected. We understand that the Supreme Court race in the previous elections in and around, I mean, the Wisconsin Supreme Court has become, when I was blown away by the image of 4 female justices standing on the stage on election night for a rally. It really was, I think, the final piece of what we all knew what was happening, which was the court was just becoming a partisan court. And so that it doesn't surprise me that there's already been 2 suits filed, and we'll sit back and watch those make their way through the court system.
He is Wisconsin Congressman Scott Fitzgerald. Sir, always a pleasure. Keep us posted on that big, beautiful bill, okay?
Thanks, Dan. Thanks for having me on.
Always appreciate it. Coming up next, it is a very special edition of the Unsung Hero of the Day, someone who has greatly impacted my family and a whole lot of families across Wisconsin. Stay tuned.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Pretty lousy southbound 4145 Good Hope to Burleigh, taking a half hour down to the Zoo interchange. Northbound takes 20. Your delays get better after Hampton. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com, and we sell custom blinds, shades, and shutters at low prices. Our blinds are handcrafted to fit your windows, and if they don't, for any reason, we'll remake them for free. Your satisfaction is always guaranteed at Blindster.com.
The latest news.
And let's get right to it. This is just breaking right now. A major development.
Exclusive investigations.
That has been confirmed by multiple sources. It is a story you will hear only right here.
In-depth analysis.
I did some digging on this and found the truth.
And plenty of fun.
It's time now for the strangest stories of the past week.
The Dan O'Donnell Show. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6 on News Talk 1130 WISN.
Transform your outdoor space with By the Yard's beautiful and maintenance-free outdoor patio furniture. Enjoy a 35-year warranty on hundreds of style and color combinations. Made in the USA and built to last. Discover our new wood grain colors and collections to add timeless elegance that lasts and lasts. Shop now and make the most of your patio time this year. Visit our gorgeous showroom in Oconomowoc or shop bytheyard.net. That's bytheyard.net. With By the Yard, life is better outdoors.
Hi, I'm Willa Voss. I'm 8 years old. Mom and Dad own Cut and Go Tree Service. Yes, they did name me after a tree. Our family loves this country and the freedom it provides. Every morning, I look forward to starting the school day with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please say it along with me, even if you just say it in your mind. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. American patriots will enjoy a 5% discount for flying the American flag and mentioning this commercial when the Cut and Go remote control, automobile mounted, articulated crane, grapple saw operators are putting your dead trees on the ground or removing large branches that grew over something important. An all-American Tons of Trees movement, cutandgotrees.com. That's CUTNGOTREES.com.
There are only a handful of carpet cleaning companies in the country who guarantee results, and we're one of them. It's no wonder why we're Wisconsin's most trusted carpet cleaner.
Edelman Carpet Furniture and Drapery Cleaning.
It's Edelman again. Edelman.
I'm Victor Harding, a true trial attorney at Warshevsky Law. You've heard our advertising for years. While it's been effective introducing Warshevsky to injured people in need of maximum judgments and settlements, most of our clients come from personal referral. Referrals from former clients grateful for the settlement or trial judgment Warshevsky won on their behalf. Thus, they're recommending us to friends and family. Referrals from people in the community, including other lawyers and judges who want to make sure their friends and family are taken care of. Still not sure? Ask around. Warshevsky is referred by Wisconsin law enforcement officers who've seen Warshevsky attorneys in action, desperate to make sure friends and family receive just compensation. Insurance adjusters, often our adversaries, refer their family members hurt in accidents. They know the work we do. They all refer Warshevsky because, big case or small, we can help. If someone you love is injured, please let them know, because at the end of their ordeal, their injury is about the money. Warshevsky.com.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Made for This Mountain exists to empower listeners to rise above their struggles and face the mountain in front of them. So during Mental Health Awareness Month, focus on your emotional well-being. Tune into the podcast and climb that mountain.
You will never be able to change or grow through the thing that you refuse to identify. The thing that you refuse to say, hey, this is my mountain. This is the struggle.
Listen to Made for This Mountain on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search Made for This Mountain.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Securing America.
3 Army soldiers who were discharged from the service for refusing to get the COVID vaccine during the pandemic have now returned to active duty. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth reacted on Fox's The Will Cain Show.
All the letters are out to the folks who were pushed out, and we welcome them back as quickly and robustly as possible.
The Army says over 100 more have applied for reinstatement. The Marines say 129 have started the reinstatement process.
We will apologize to you. We will recognize the wrong that's been done. We will welcome you back with rank and back pay, and we want your service.
The Secretary adding that the return of these service members can only make the U.S. force stronger.
These are some of our best and brightest. We were kicking out folks with 17 years in, 18 years in, 19 years in.
Over 8,000 service members in all were discharged during the pandemic for refusing to get vaccinated. Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show, and it is time now to name the unsung hero of the day. The Unsung Hero of the Day is brought to you by Blue Line Cleaning Services, residential and commercial cleaning done by professionals. Today's Unsung Hero of the Day is Joan Rooney, a well-known violinist in the Milwaukee area, founding member of the Milwaukee Catholic Symphony, as well as the McDowell Club. She also played in the Waukesha Symphony and the Milwaukee Pops Orchestra, which was the immediate forerunner of the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra. And as accomplished a violinist as she was, she really made her mark on the world as a teacher. She taught at the Wisconsin Conservatory of Music before establishing her own violin school, the Joan Rooney Strings. She was one of the very first teachers in America to practice the Suzuki method of violin, which was very popular in Japan. She started teaching in her 30s and taught well into her 90s. Her students played all across southeast Wisconsin, including at her home, which she often opened up for recitals. Perhaps her most memorable performance was for President Ronald Reagan when he visited Wisconsin in 1983. Joan Rooney passed away on Friday at the age of 97. And at this point, you might be asking yourself, well, why are we playing what seems to be a random violin song instead of our usual Unsung Hero of the Day theme? Well, this just happened to be one of Joan's favorite songs, and it's being performed by the Barcel Suzuki String Academy under the direction of Colleen Fitzgerald, who was one of Joan Rooney's students. So too was my wife, Megan. And playing right now is our son, Nicholas. You see, for the violin community, and especially the Suzuki violin community in the Milwaukee area, there was no more towering or kind of figure than Joan Rooney. And her talent and dedication to the violin and her students is no more evident than in this song, played by the third generation of her teaching. Joan Rooney, your unsung hero of the day.
From the Lynch Chevrolet of Kenosha Total Traffic Center.
Westbound on 894, jam 27th to 84th with a crash blocking the left lane. Still got one blocking the left lane. 43 southbound at Locust, stopping and going back to Capitol. I'm Kevin Henry, and that's your latest Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com, and we sell custom blinds, shades, and shutters at low prices. Our blinds are handcrafted to fit your windows, and if they don't, for any reason, we'll remake them for free. Your satisfaction is always guaranteed at Blindster.com.
People should be judged for the content of their character, not the straightness of their teeth.
I'm Mila. The gracious, caring staff at Ross Dental makes straight teeth convenient.
Bo, Mila's big brother here. High school social pressure can make students want to be invisible. Ross Dental Straight teeth are confidence building.
With Ross Dental Straight teeth, you and your children will smile like you just don't care because you don't.
Dr. Ross did imaging and ordered virtually invisible plastic trays that fit over our teeth, shifting them ever so slightly.
Every 5 days or so, we start new trays that shift teeth a little more.
Unlike conventional braces, we can take the trays off to eat and brush our teeth, and they cost less.
A bonus for me is clicking in my jaw stopped.
Dr. Ross is a great dentist, and Dad says Ross Dental is the best deal.
Family dentistry, cosmetic whitening, Ross Dental Straight Smiles, and full sedation dentistry. For anxious patients needing substantial restoration. Our mission, your comfort, health, and confidence. Smile like you just don't care, because you don't. RossDentalWI.com.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell for Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you across the greater Milwaukee area. Start your repair right now at mandercollision.com. Mander truly is the best decision after a collision.
I'm Larry Brinkman, president of Dornbrook Construction. Dornbrook Construction has installed concrete in every industrial and commercial setting from the Milwaukee Airport to Campbell's Soup. From big shots in manufacturing and industry, locally as well as the up-and-coming businesses in southeastern Wisconsin. Big business chooses Dornbrook because they know Dornbrook is ACI certified, fully licensed, insured, and bonded. And they know for 25 years, Dornbrook stands behind every square foot of concrete we install. Little businesses choose Dornbrook for all those reasons, and also because they can afford to choose Dornbrook. Dornbrook is industry's choice for commercial concrete because we do perfect business efficiency-minded preparation and installation on every job. We know you aren't closing your business to have concrete work done. 25 years of experience ensures your loading dock or dumpster pad or machine base or huge flat concrete job isn't our first go-around. Standing behind the concrete Wisconsin businesses and residents stand on Dornbrook Construction. DornbrookConstruction.com. 414-333-0642.
Accurate Mortgages and Equal Housing Lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Flimsy, feeble, flaccid. That's how you can describe most pre-approval letters these days because most banks still issue pre-approval letters without actually verifying your income, employment, or down payment. That's the exact opposite of an accurate, rock-solid, fully verified and guaranteed pre-approval, where we put a $2,000 guarantee behind the fact the seller can actually rely on the terms of your pre-approval and offer. With AccuNet, there's also a possibility of issuing a property-specific pre-approval with as little as a 10% down payment that includes the magic words, no appraisal required. That's right, AccuNet may be able to issue your pre-approval without needing an appraisal. That's the kind of certainty that can help a seller say yes to your offer. Sure, you can try competing with a flimsy bank pre-approval, or you can click on the blue button at AccuNet.com and get started with the pre-approval listing agents and sellers recognized as the best in the business. That's ACCUNET.com.
Let Tri-County Contracting take care of the outside of your home so you don't have to. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows from Tri-County Contracting. Call us at 262-679-6100 or visit us online at TriCountyContractingWI.com.
Take a pause.
Amanda Harpel France in Washington State has an autistic son named Evan.
It got to a point where he was starting to not leave the home. He was that struggling with anxiety. And this is before we got Calvin. This is before we got our canine companion pup.
Calvin is a lab golden retriever mix. And since the service dog came into Evan's world,
he has made a huge difference in bridging that gap between Evan and other kids to the point that now Evan is going to class walks, going to scouts, going to 4-H.
The dog even helps Evan sleep better.
Evan will reach over and lay his head on Calvin. Calvin puts his arm on Evan.
But getting a dog from the nonprofit Canine Companions can be a challenge. They often have a 2-year wait list. So they're always looking for volunteer puppy raisers to teach puppies basic skills and manners. Check out caninecompanions.org to learn more. Take a pause. Jill Nato, Fox News.
Listen to Clay and Buck weekdays 11 to 2 on News Talk 1130 WISN Milwaukee, and make WISN the #1 preset on your car radio and on the new iHeart app. Free never sounded so good.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Michaels. 5 people are dead, 4 others in critical condition after an early morning fire near 27th and Highland yesterday. Milwaukee Fire Chief Aaron Lipsky.
When our members got here, they were far, far, far outmatched.
WISN's Dan O'Donnell is reporting that investigators believe that fire may have been intentionally set. In a statement, Ozaukee County Sheriff Christy Knowles says the lengthy standoff that ended over the weekend between authorities and a man from Fredonia was done in the interest of public safety.
We had to stay inside because once we left, we could not come back to our home.
The man eventually did surrender without incident. And the U.S. and China have announced that they will temporarily ease tariffs on each other.
The reciprocal tariffs on the U.S. side go to 30%, and the tariffs on the Chinese side, the retaliation, go to 10%.
Fox's Edward Lawrence checking the Holiday Automotive Fond du Lac Sports scoreboard. Freddie Peralta pitching tonight for the Brewers against the Guardians. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Dave Michaels on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Here's the latest forecast presented by AdventKnows.com from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Increasing clouds tonight, temperatures dropping into the 50s overnight, along with some fog near the lake and a few light rain showers overnight. Scattered thunderstorms possible on Tuesday, 72 inland, 65 near the lake. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Tom Walks.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off, free UPS shipping, and add code radio for an extra 5% off.
You got to get to Built Right today. Dan O'Donnell here for my longtime friends at Built Right Furniture, Leather, and Mattresses. It is the best time to refresh your home locally. Built Right's Memorial Day sale plus $1 million clearance sell-off are on now. Shop where the O'Donnell family shops, as we recently ordered an Amish-made dining set for our new home. Built Right has the most experienced team and the best selection of affordable, better quality furniture and mattresses in Wisconsin. Built Right's 45,000 square foot showroom has thousands of items in stock, plus 500 mattresses. You'll find hard to find USA made, small scale, Amish made, real solid wood furniture, flippable mattresses, and more. Free in-store design services too. Built Right always saves you money. Voted best place to shop, open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday, they're closed to be with family. Make sure to tell them Dan sent you to Built Right at 54th and Layton in Greenfield.
Attorney Tom Grieve here for Divergent Family Law. You really believed your paths were one and the same until death do you part. Your best interest was their best interest. Increasingly, it's clear you are on divergent paths, having grown apart in interests, goals, even morality. Having made it through the latest battery of holidays, you're now resolved to make your own way. Divergent Family Law is experienced attorneys who will make sure your path is not the lesser of two traversed as you go separate ways. Wisconsin statutes have no provisions for love, hate, or anger. Divorce is the disassembly of a legal contract, the division of assets, and the legal assignment of responsibility for property that cannot be physically divided. No judge or parent can split children in two, physically or emotionally. Family law is experiential. With Divergent Family Law, the outcome is predictable. Our attorneys can tell you up front with considerable accuracy the details of your divorce decree because we know Wisconsin family law. We know the adjudicators and we know your rights. Divergent Family Law, separate and equal equal or better. DivergentFamilyLaw.com.
Tired of feeling like you're in a fishbowl every time you hit the road? It's time to tint your windows. Tinting your windows will not only block harmful UV rays, but also reduces glare and keeps your car cooler on those scorching summer days. We offer a lifetime warranty on film and installation. Charisma offers a color-stable film that makes your vehicle look great, and a ceramic film that blocks 99% of UV rays and 85% of sun's heat. Ceramic window film is the best you can get and keeps you cool in blistering summer heat. 262-444-2525. CharismaCustoms.com.
When you breathe well, you live better. Find out more at adventnose.com. A place where freedom of speech and freedom of thought live on. Stay informed all day, every day on News Talk 1130 WISN. Show summaries, podcasts, political tidbits, and the hottest photo galleries in radio. All available to you whenever you demand them at newstalk1130.com.
Go-Wall Investment Group, now Creative Planning, is a registered investment advisor. Now for your business report from Creative Planning. For informational purposes only, past performance is not indicative of future results.
Good afternoon. This is Tom Krieger with your afternoon business report. Major averages soared today after the U.S. and China agreed to temporarily cut reciprocal tariffs. The U.S. is dropping its duties on most Chinese imports from 145% to 30%, while China is lowering its 125% tariff on U.S. goods to 10%. Mega cap technology companies saw a broad rally as investors jumped back into big tech following the trade agreement news. Shares of Amazon rose 8%, while Apple and Tesla were both up around 6%. At the close, the Dow was up 1,160 points, S&P 500 up 184, and the NASDAQ up 779. From Creative Planning, I'm Tom Krieger.
This first day of another busy broadcast week here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Another hour of broadcast excellence, or let's face it, broadcast competence. Another Trump scandal is not actually a scandal and not actually a big exclusive story. ABC News teased the emoluments clause violation that was the Qatari jet that President Trump was being gifted as a big exclusive. Well, it turns out that the Wall Street Journal reported on that same thing about a week ago, that President Trump, it isn't as though he's getting this free jet from the Qataris in exchange for some sort of action, but that he has been so dissatisfied with Boeing dragging its feet on. You need a new Air Force One. I don't think I need to spell out the reasons why. You can't just have super old plane technology. Frankly, I'd be a little nervous about the president flying in a Boeing jet regardless, based on its recent track record. You don't want the door randomly flying off in the middle of a flight. Like, what was that, an Alaska Airlines flight about a year ago? So he was so frustrated with that he contracts with the Qataris to refurbish one of their $400 million planes. What do you think? You could just take an old Spirit Airlines jet that they used to fly between Detroit and Atlanta and just fix that up, and all of a sudden it's the new Air Force One? It has to be a $400 million jet. In other words, what ABC News was reporting is completely wrong. President Trump discussed that today as he was signing his prescription drug executive order, which also is being completely misrepresented.
Mr. President, what do you say to people who view that luxury jet as a personal gift to you? Why not leave it behind?
You're ABC fake news, right? Why not? It's only ABC. Well, a few of you would. You should be embarrassed asking that question. They're giving us a free jet. I could say, no, don't give us. I want to pay you $1 billion or 400 million or whatever it is. Or I could say, thank you very much. You know, there was an old golfer named Sam Snead. Did you ever hear him? He won 82 tournaments. He was a great golfer. And he had a motto: when they give you a putt, you say, thank you very much. You pick up your ball and you walk to the next hole. A lot of people are stupid. They say, no, I insist on putting it. And then they putt it and they miss it. And their partner gets angry at them. You know what? Remember that, Sam Snead. When they give you a putt, you pick it up and you walk to the next hole and you say, thank you very much.
When they give you a jet, you say, thank you very much, and you walk to the next hole. We will get into the reducing prices for Americans and taxpayers executive order signed today, which is also being, and admittedly, I was a little, when it was first announced, I said, well, what is this, price controls? Because that sort of thing never quite worked right for the Soviet Union, but it's actually anything but. And of course, you're not getting the full story anywhere else, so you might as well get it here. Before we get into that, though, Spring Green Cash Contest word this hour, GRAND, GRAND, GRAND. You've got until 55 past the hour to go to our website and enter the keyword GRAND to enter the contest for this hour. Only the media could interrupt this generational run with a manufactured controversy about the Qataris giving Trump a terror plane. There's actually concern in some corners of the media that they are going to outfit it with bombs and it's going to blow up the president, which totes isn't Islamophobic at all. The Qataris have been known to sponsor some terror. I'm not going to absolve them of blame. However, it's just not what it's being reported. The executive order signed today is also not. I love, though, that the media is finally concerned about things that did not work in the Soviet Union not working here. Can somebody please get a to shout the same questions at Bernie Sanders and AOC? Naturally, that will never happen, but this is anything but price control or price fixing. The order just designates the U.S. trade representative as well as the Secretary of Commerce to take action ensuring that other countries aren't purposefully slashing prices on their own. In other words, engaging in price fixing and price controls that are meant to drive price hikes to the United States. For example, President Trump told them, I completely spaced on putting this excellent cut into the show lineup today, but he tells a story about his fat friend who took the fat drug. He took the fat drug. I believe he's talking about Ozempic. I'm trying to think who his fat friend was. He said he's a CEO. He's very well known in the business community. Who would Trump's fat friend be? I don't know. The only real fat guy that I can think of who's like I wouldn't even call him a business tycoon. He's just an heir, would be Pritzker, the governor of Illinois. Do you think Pritzker took the fat drug? Well, it's clearly not working. But Trump said today during this signing ceremony that it's a fraction of the cost in Europe. And he actually, because he's got the wherewithal to be able to do it, took a jet over to Europe to get his fat drug, whereas it would cost 50% more here. And this is one of the big problems, that we have so many middlemen getting in between. I've always said, you want to talk about free market principles. The more middlemen in between the consumer and the supplier, or the consumer and the source of a good or service, especially when that middleman is the government, the more you will pay. Because consumers in this country, ostensibly at least, have choice. If we're presented with a whole bunch of choices for our treatment, we will invariably take the one that is, yes, most effective, but also we're going to be price conscious because we can't afford to pay $1,000 per dose. Guess who can? The government, insurance companies. Now, they're not really paying $1,000 a dose. They're getting billed $1,000 a dose. Do you think anybody would be able to afford $1,000 a dose? Even Trump's fat friend, rich guy who took the fat drug that he told the story about today? Probably not, or they certainly wouldn't want to. So what this executive order is aimed at doing is getting rid of those middlemen. The administration is basically going to communicate price targets to pharmaceutical manufacturers and ensure that America gets the best deal. What I read this as is almost like a tariff on the drug companies. What Trump is doing is leveraging the power of the American consumer against drug companies to do exactly what he just got done on this generational run with China. Health and Human Services Secretary is then going to establish a mechanism where patients can buy their drugs directly from the manufacturers. They would get a most favored nation price. If drug manufacturers can't do that, the order directs the secretary, Bobby Jr., to propose rules imposing most favored nation prices and taking other aggressive measures to significantly reduce the cost of prescription drugs to the American consumer and end anti-competitive prices. When Trump was asked today, well, isn't this price controls? He said, you've got price controls everywhere else. We're the suckers who are being taken advantage of. Well, these drug companies, okay, we're losing money because we have to sell the drugs at a lower price in, say, Germany. We'll make it up by just overcharging the Americans. The Americans will be able to pay for it because our healthcare system, and might I remind you, there was some guy who was in the White House earlier who said that if we passed his bill, something care, I think his name might have been in it, we would dramatically lower the cost of prescription drugs. Would you believe the prices Americans pay for brand name drugs are 3 times higher the price than other nations? Now, even after you account for discounts to the United States, 3 times high, same drug. I'm on a generic form of Lexapro called escitalopram. The drug is called escitalopram. The brand name is Lexapro. Even accounting for, I think it's gone generic, so I pay practically, I think I pay $1 for a 3-month supply or some ridiculously low amount. But let's say I was paying $10 a month. Let's say, okay, I'm in Ireland and I pay $10 a month. An American would pay $30 a month, just on average. Same drug, same exact thing. Why? The reason is because of price controls in other countries. And America, once again, is just sort of rich Uncle Sucker who's forced to pay more. The United States has less than 5% of the world's population, but funds roughly 75% of global pharmaceutical profits. 75%. Now, yes, we have 330 million people in this country, and a critical component of this is a whole lot of the other 94% of 96%, I think, of the world's population. They don't have access to these drugs because they're not rich enough. They take the drugs that are needed to survive. We take fat drugs because we don't feel like exercising or eating healthy and want to lose an extra 10 pounds. So we've got the fat guy drugs now. That said, is that fair? Is that something that should be happening? Should other countries, to borrow the language of the left, be paying more of their, dare I say it, fair share? Sure seems like it. I want you to think about what the executive order that was signed today does in those tariff terms. It's not designed to control prices in the United States. Like when they say, okay, you shall sell Viagra for, $30 a pill. I have no idea what Viagra goes for because, of course, I don't. No, actually, it's the first drug that popped into my mind. I have no, I don't know. The first drug where they can get away with charging an arm and a leg, or in this case, an arm and a. No, I'm not going to say it. If you're paying, though, $30 a pill, let's just say, for Viagra in America, and I think, has Viagra gone generic now? It probably has. No? Oh, producer Eric is in there like, no, I'm going broke paying for all my Viagra. Eric just pops a pill every 3 hours just because. No, I thought I saw that it went generic, but I don't know. Whatever. Eric, there's a million different ways you can, shall we say, get the same effect as Viagra. Sildenafil is the generic. Okay, sildenafil. And now Eric says, now I have that in my Google search history. Yeah, sorry. I'm also taking a screenshot of that and sending an all company email. Look what Eric is searching for during my show. Let's say it's $30 a pill. The idea here is a poorer nation, say Somalia. Is your average Somalian who can no longer perform going to pay even $10 a pill for Viagra? The Somali market is largely shut down because most Somalians have to worry about when their next meal, like they have to worry about malaria drugs. They have to worry about drugs that treat diseases that can kill them very easily. They have to worry about staying alive. Not being able to do that is kind of low on the priority list when survival is tantamount. So if that entire market, let's say the manufacturer of Viagra sells zero Viagra in Somalia, what are they going to do for a market where people have extra money lying around and the dudes want to be able to perform? Just keep charging Americans more. Again, is that right? Is that price fixing by a country, or is that price fixing by a company that, yes, can operate freely as it wants? But if the United States is paying the freight for other countries, forcing those drug companies to pay lower rates, to sell their product for lower rates, then the United States is going to, at least President Trump's vision of what the United States can and should do, and frankly, I kind of agree, is launch a trade war against these other countries by leveraging the fact that we buy way more drugs than any 100 nations combined. Frankly, this is not, to my eyes, price controls or price fixing. It's the exact opposite. It is an attempt to open free markets in drug prices here in the United States. We'll be right back.
From the place you want to go, Lynch McGuanago Traffic Center.
894 eastbound got a stall on the ramp from 76th Street, and your westbound lanes at 84th. You got a crash block in the left lane, some very heavy delays all the way back to the Mitchell. Eastbound delays from the Hale to 84th. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off, free UPS shipping, and add code radio for an extra 5% off.
Dan O'Donnell here for Mander Collision and Glass, now with 7 locations to serve you in Waukesha, Milwaukee, Muskego, Brookfield, Heartland, Cedarburg, and their Waukesha Fleet and Specialty location. If you have a business with a multi-vehicle fleet, Mander is the place to go because their team understands you can't have a vehicle out of service for a while, so they work quickly and efficiently to get you back on the road and serving your customers as fast as possible through expedited fleet repairs. Mander has been serving their customers and their community for well over 20 years, and they know that the key is expert workmanship and fast turnaround times combined with the sort of customer service that you'll only find at a family-owned local business like Mander. Start your repair today at mandercollision.com and find out for yourself why Mander truly is your best decision after a collision.
I'm Dan Voss from Cut and Go. Ugly and depressing and trees killed off by emerald ash, oak wilt, and Dutch elm disease are dangerous for friends and loved ones, even a potential liability. Slowly rotting, left-standing hardwood trees can weigh tens of thousands of pounds. Even seemingly smaller branches can weigh tens, even hundreds of pounds. With Cut and Go, there is no reason to risk injury or property damage. Live trees in precarious placement for an arborist to remove over homes, garages, commercial buildings, luxury landscapes are easily and safely laid on the ground by Cut and Go's NCCER crane-operated certified remote control automobile mounted articulating crane grapple saw operators. You can save big money and stock up on firewood by having Cut and Go put your trees on the ground for you to clean up or have a bonfire or split firewood, or we can take it all with us when we leave. A Tons of Trees movement. Cut and Go trees.com. That's CUTNGO trees.com. Once again, that's cutandgotrees.com.
What would your community be like without UW-Madison? The UW is one of the country's leading hubs for supporting life-changing research. UW-Madison helps make a healthier Wisconsin, build strong businesses, and win the war for workforce talent, not just in Madison, but across our entire state. Visit uwalumni.com/UW4 to tell your legislators to support UW-Madison in the Wisconsin state budget. That's uwalumni.com/UW4. Paid for by the Wisconsin Alumni Association.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Capted Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules. All programs on News Talk 1130 WISN are broadcast through the NX Wealth Management Studios. NX Wealth Management, know the difference. Critical events drive critical times, and these are the times to learn critical lessons. Recent events should teach us that the struggle for liberty is ongoing, and forces that are misguided or sinister stand at the ready to take our liberties away. At News Talk 1130 WISN, we are dedicated to identifying the risks to our freedoms as they arise, and to alert you to those risks, valuing our liberties and our rights. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
Coming up later this hour, have you noticed I sort of push the stories I know I have to cover but really don't want to the very end of the show? Giannis is absolutely leaving the Bucks this summer. In fact, at this point, I would be shocked if he doesn't. Coming up, probably about 5:45 ish or so. We will get into that. Giannis has made it known that he is open to playing for another team, which in Giannis speak, I think is it's okay if you try to trade me. Remember, he holds all the cards here because he's got a full no trade clause. He can veto any trade that the Bucks would do. It's going to have to be a multi-team trade. No team straight up has the draft capital that the Bucks would be looking for. So it would be like Giannis goes to Miami, picks come from, Memphis. Tyler Hero goes to the Grizzlies. I don't know. ESPN.com is at least they used to. I don't know if they still update it. The trade generator where you can actually put in various pieces. And because of all these salary cap regulations, the generator will tell you if it's a good trade or not. We'll get into that coming up a little bit later on here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Right now, last week, lawsuit filed against Governor Evers' congressional map, which is apparently so tilted towards Republicans that Tony Evers needs to be considered a secret double agent, that he intentionally skewed these maps. They are so gerrymandered, drawn by Tony Evers, that Democrats are worried Tony Evers is actually a Republican who secretly drew these maps so that Republicans would have a massive gerrymandered advantage. Oh, you don't believe that? You don't believe that Tony Evers is really a secret agent, libs? Then how do you explain what the law firm, the Elias Law Group, said in its filing last week, that these maps were drawn for partisan gain to give an unfair advantage to Republicans? And if the argument is the bogus claim of proportionality, that because Wisconsin is usually a 50-50 state in presidential elections, that there needs to be 50% Democrat districts and 50% Republican districts. My good friend Joe Handrick, he is a Republican numbers guy, and he is, I believe, the best Republican numbers guy, best numbers guy in the state of Wisconsin, put that claim to the test in a way that nobody else did. And when you see how he did it, you realize that the Democrat argument is asinine. All he did was take Susan Crawford's electoral victory from about a month and a half ago. She won with 55% of the vote in 2025. 55%. She won 4 of the 8 congressional districts. Okay? 4 of the 8 with 55% of the vote. Now, you may be saying, well, Dan, doesn't this make the argument? It does not. If Susan Crawford can win in other congressional districts, why can't congressional candidates? In other words, this disproves the idea that it's impossible for a Democrat to win in a congressional district that has been gerrymandered to so favor Republicans. Because if it was, you would expect that the only congressional districts that Susan Crawford could have possibly won would have been the districts represented by Gwen Moore and by Mark Pocan, Milwaukee and Madison. She didn't. She won the congressional districts represented by, I believe, Brian Stile and Derek Van Orden. We're supposed to believe, though, that those congressional districts are so gerrymandered that it is impossible for any Democrat to ever win them. Susan Crawford did. She did a month and a half ago. How are you telling me it's impossible for a Democrat to win? She did. There goes your proportionality argument right up in smoke. There's no way you can argue proportionality while saying no Democrat could win with these maps. Crawford did, and I'm willing to wager other Democrats have as well. What this means is their argument that, well, in a 50-50 state, all of the votes need to be evenly distributed across 8 congressional districts is bonkers, because they are never evenly distributed across 8 congressional districts. They're lopsided based on where Republicans and Democrats choose to live. It is not the legislature's fault that Democrats choose to live only in Milwaukee and Madison. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Conservative thought, not just talk.
Now, here's traffic from Tri-City National Bank, your hometown bank. Call the Tri-City Total Traffic Tip Line at 414-944-5111.
Westbound on 894 at 84th Street, you got a crash, block in the left lane. Heavy delays back to the Mitchell interchange. 43 northbound slows most of the way from the Marquette to Keefe with ongoing right lane construction. I'm Kevin Henry. That's your latest total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get 60% off. Free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off.
I'm Mark Belling, and my podcast is here, and I'm tackling the world. You can find me on the iHeart app or wherever you get your podcasts. Type Mark Belling Podcast in the search and hang on for the ride.
The Mark Belling Podcast is presented by Uline. For quality shipping and industrial supplies, Uline has everything in stock. Visit uline.com. Also supported by Kunis Auto and RV. The Mark Belling Podcast, now available at iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.
Dan O'Donnell here with my friend Daniel from Bayview Shade and Blind. Daniel, I love the work you guys did at our new home, and more importantly, my wife loves it too.
Appreciate that, Dan. We work with folks who really value having a trusted guide to walk them through the whole process, from choosing the right window treatments to professional installation. That's how we do it at Bayview Shade.
And you know what, Daniel? It really shows. Go to bayviewshade.com. They're sharing a little sunshine from their family to yours for 99 years.
Becoming a truck driver doesn't have to be complicated. At Schneider, we make it easy to get your commercial driver's license and start your new career. With our CDL apprenticeship training, you'll get paid to become a truck driver in just 5 to 6 weeks and have a Schneider driving job waiting for you when you've completed the program. Plus, during training, Schneider will provide transportation, lodging, and meals at no cost to you. Ready to get your career on the road? Learn more and apply today at schneiderjobs.com. That's schneiderjobs.com.
I'm Ryan Harrison, owner of Ryan Waterproofing. If it seems rain hangs around your home coming down as insidiously delicate droplets or in buckets, and if neither, rain tends to lurk suspiciously in the atmosphere around your house, you probably have a wet, mildewy, leaky basement with cracked walls. No basement wall or foundation repair is too big or small for Ryan Waterproofing. We won't be the most expensive. The larger the job, the more you'll save with Ryan. We've eliminated bowed walls, cracks, spalling, seepage, and flooding in Coast Guard stations, museums, and countless Wisconsin homes. Ryan's waterproofing experts show up on time and do exactly what we say we're going to do, eliminating your water problems, restoring your home, even ending your negative obsession with rain. Imagine looking out the window for rainbows rather than obsessing about your basement walls and floors next time, every time it rains. Free estimates, affordable financing. Because praying for drought is overrated. Ryan Waterproofing, call Ryan.com. That's call RION.com.
I'm attorney Tom Grieve, here to tell you about Grieve Civil Law. There's a lot of things in life we put off for far too long. Going to the doctor or the gym or the dentist. We know we should do it, but there's always something else more urgent. Estate planning cannot be put off. Life is unexpected. Have you thought about what your family would go through if you died without a will? Probate is stressful, time-consuming, and costly. It can cause family disputes and resentment. Is that what you want your legacy to be? Don't procrastinate when it comes to your family's future. Protect them from chaos and confusion. Don't let your legacy be the mess you left them with. You probably hear a lot of ads that say, time is running out, don't wait. It's a marketing gimmick. We all know there will be another sale soon. When it comes to estate planning, time Time is literally running out. Plan today and have peace of mind tomorrow. Don't gamble with your life's work. Don't gamble with your family's future. GrieveCivilLaw.com. Because time is running out.
A little inside baseball that you may or may not know. I won't endorse a business unless I've used the product myself or I've thoroughly researched it and believe in it. Hi, everybody. It's Jay Weber. When the folks at Semperfi Roofing approached me to be their spokesman, I didn't need a new roof, so I went to work doing the research. I've got to tell you, I don't think I've ever seen customer reviews quite like what I found with Semperfi. Hundreds of 5-star reviews, and not just vanilla 5-star ratings or simple clicks. Semperfi's customers are very outspoken about the great customer service and expert installation they received. Look, hiring the right contractor is a big decision. There's a lot of fly-by-nighters out there. If you want a new roof perfectly installed for real peace of mind, I've already done the research for you. I cannot recommend Semperfi Roofing highly enough. Call for your free no-obligation estimate, 262-600-2910, 262-600-2910, or online at semperfiroofing.com. That's semperfiroofing.com.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi.
Brighten your basement and boost safety with Baynex egress windows. One-day egress window installs, no subcontractors, a 4-year labor warranty, and free estimates. Visit BAYNICKS.com today.
Get ready as iHeartRadio teams up with the ultimate countdown king.
It's Rick Dees, and here's this week's #1 hit.
iHeartRadio and the Rick Dees Weekly Top 40 with 2 exclusive channels.
Catch this week's biggest hits as we count down to #1.
Listen to this week's biggest songs with Rick Dees and the Weekly Top 40.
Then you can hear all of my legendary countdowns from way back, all commercial free.
It's the soundtrack of your life.
Search me, Rick Dees, on your free iHeartRadio app and listen now.
Intelligent discourse, irreverent fun. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show, and sometimes we even have some 90s hip-hop bumper music. This, of course, OPP, featuring a prominent sample of the Jackson 5's ABC by Naughty by Nature. By the way, you can find almost all of the bumper songs that we use on our Spotify playlist, the Dan O'Donnell Show bumper music playlist. Our theme song, Explosive, the Unhinged Liberal of the Day theme, all the songs that you hear on the Dan O'Donnell Show. I think it's several hundred of them. I took basically a weekend and put them all in, and you can find them. Just search for Dan O'Donnell Show or Dan O'Donnell Show bumper or something like that on Spotify. We do have links, I believe, right at the top of our Facebook page if you want to find that. I always forget to put people over to the Spotify playlist, and we are in the process of sort of freshening up, opening up, and updating our bumper music rotation. We try to keep it fresh. I have got a whole bunch of orchestral hip-hop and EDM pieces that, for those who have been following the show for a while, know is a tribute to my family, every one of whom plays violin, save for me. Today's unsung hero of the day was my wife's old violin teacher, Joan Rooney, who passed away over the weekend at the age of 97 after teaching kids for, 50 years. I think. She taught into her 90s. Just an amazing woman. Her obituary is, I think, in today's paper. It might have been yesterday's paper, jsonline.com or obituary.com for those who knew Joan. And also, if you have a nominee for the unsung hero of the day, someone who's just doing incredible things, please do shoot me an email, dod@iheartmedia.com. Coming up, Giannis, I think, is gone. Producer Eric, what do you think? Probably. The general consensus, while 2 years ago it would have been inconceivable that the Bucks would ever get rid of Giannis. There was never even much of a fear. Remember when he was a free agent? Oh, is he going to re-sign? Yeah, of course he was going to re-sign with the Bucks. Now, this team is a long way away from title contention. Heck, this team seems a long way away from competing for the second round of the playoffs. And Giannis is going to want to win championships, and I don't blame him. We'll get into that coming up in probably about 5 to 10 minutes, somewhere in there. I do want to put a bow on this congressional maps discussion. Joe Handrick, who you can find at Joe Minocqua on X, has a couple of wonderful threads and tweets about this very subject, that the Democrats' argument has always been Wisconsin's maps are gerrymandered because they're not proportional, because each congressional district does not have enough Democrats in them. Handrick, in a very, very good thread, says one argument that Dems are making that stood out as particularly weird is that the argument that the current map is a partisan gerrymander. The map adopted in 2011 was the opposite of a partisan gerrymander. It was actually a bipartisan map. The map was not drawn by the GOP legislature. It was drawn by the congressional delegation with input from all members, including Tammy Baldwin. This was broken by J.R. Ross at WisPolitics last week. Now, in 2022, when the Supreme Court approved Governor Evers' map, says Handrick, it did so because the map didn't make big changes to the bipartisan map of 2011. Liberal members of the court then unanimously voted to reject a challenge to the Evers map in 2024. Those justices are now being forced to say, or they're being asked to say, they were wrong in 2022 and wrong again in 2024. This is only part of the reason why taking up this case would cause liberal court members to have to redefine the boundaries of judicial gymnastics. They would have to. So Dallin and Karofsky, who were on the court in 2022, remember, Protasewicz was not, and Crawford will not be. And Ann Walsh Bradley will be off the court by the time this is decided because she retired. Dallin and Karofsky are being asked to, one, vote that their own map is unconstitutional. Two, vote that they were in error in 2024 when they rejected a challenge to their map. And three, dirty their hands by aiding a naked partisan effort to interfere with the 2026 elections. That is a fantastic post and thread by my friend Joe Handrick. I just retweeted it, so you can find it at Dan O'Donnell Show on X. And Joe is only partially correct here. This also would violate the United States Supreme Court's standards for what a court can and cannot do to a legislative map this late in the decade, because it is the legislature's role. This is not the court's role to just change maps. Coming up next, will Giannis be a Buck next year? We discuss.
From the Lynch Truck Center in Waterford Total Traffic Center.